Hello and welcome to the Calmcast, a time to feel calm and think clearly. I'm Claire Downham, the Queen of Calm, a transformational life coach. I was a burnt out head teacher who finally made the journey to calm after years of trying, and I want to prevent you from having to do the same. The Calmcast is a series of short explorations, gently guiding you back to your natural state, which is calm and clarity. Just listen like you would listen to music, with an open mind and curiosity. There's nothing else to do. Now let's relax into today's episode. So today's exploration is around what it's like to live your life outside of facts. And what comes to mind initially as an example of that is those very funny films that you can watch on YouTube of people during the first experiences of flight while they were trying to fly. And you will have probably seen them. They are quite humorous, although I dread to think what state the people are in after falling off what they fell off many, many times. The reason those people couldn't get those machines to fly, to take off, is because they were missing some principles, some facts about how life worked. And those facts are lift, drag, speed and gravity, I believe. I've probably got those wrong and I'd love somebody to correct me. But anyway, there's some facts around flight, and those people who were trying in the early days were missing those scientific facts, so they kept falling and didn't manage to fly. And when we're trying to do something against the facts, it creates a lot of overwhelm, a real overwhelm feeling. And an example that you might be able to relate to better than flying, because I suspect you may not have tried to fly apart from in an actual airplane, it is gravity. You know, all day, every day, without really thinking about it, we work within the realms of gravity, don't we? And that's why you and I, without really thinking, it's a really unconscious decision that when we pick up a glass, when we put it down onto a table or a unit or whatever, we know that we can't just release the glass from high above said table or unit, because we know that it will break. We know that gravity will make it fall down. When little children are learning about gravity, what they tend to do is throw and drop things. And if you've had children when they've been small or been around small children, you will have seen that thing where they're always throwing things and dropping them, and it looks like they're being a bit naughty, but actually they're just being scientists. They're trying to work out, does this thing happen every time? Every time I drop this dummy or whatever, does it always fall to the floor? Does this food always fall to the floor? So it's an experimental process. By the time young children get to primary school age-ish, they have an embodied, what's called an embodied understanding of gravity, which means they have no idea about the word gravity. They don't know what gravity does really, but or the science behind it, but they know that when they put something, that they have to put things down and not just allow them to fall. And then as adults, we spend our lives just working within gravity because it would not make sense to do anything other than that. Imagine if you did, though. Imagine if one day you woke up and went, I'm not going to work within gravity anymore. Think it's a pain. Don't want to do it. Not going to believe it. I'm just going to not believe that gravity works. You would literally be walking around in broken crockery and glass. And imagine the overwhelm from that. You'd have to just keep picking up things all the time. You'd be just cleaning up all the time. You'd be kind of creating a mess yourself that you would then have to clean up. And that is why that is a beautiful analogy for how in our human experience, in our human lives, when we don't work within the facts of how human life and human experience is created, we do spend a lot of time and we get that overwhelmed feeling from trying to manage everything whilst, going against the facts of how life works. So, what are the facts about how life works, you might be wondering? And, and my invitation right now is just to let this wash over you. You don't start making notes or trying to intellectualize what I'm saying. That there are three principles which are how life works for human beings and for all of nature, in actual fact, which we are part of. And that is the first thing. That is the first thing. There's an aliveness. We're alive. That's the first principle. Anybody like to deny that with me? Just go for it. But there's an aliveness running through alive things, whether that's me and you, whether that's the flowers and the trees, whether that's I'm going to say it, bunny rabbits. I don't know why I want to say bunny rabbits rather than just rabbits, but anyway, whether it's animals, whatever it is, there is this aliveness. And if you've ever kind of been around somebody who's no longer alive, then you can really sense that something has left them. This energy, this aliveness has left them. And that's so important, understanding that aliveness and understanding that we're part of this energy of life that runs through everything, because it seems to me now that one of the things that's causing a lot of that overwhelm feeling is the idea that we're almost robotic, that our lives should be this nice straight line, kind of emotionally this way, straight across, horizontal, and going through our lives like we're on a railway track, straight line, not experiencing ups and downs, and that those things shouldn't be part of life, those ups and downs. And I think that's one of the ways where that overwhelmed feeling comes in, because if the facts are that we're part of nature and we're therefore fluctuating and variable, and yet we're trying to not be like that, that creates a massive amount of an overwhelmed feeling. So that's the first area where, the fact is we're alive and we have this aliveness and this energy of nature. If you're kind of trying to live outside of that, increased overwhelm is the result. The second truth is that we are conscious and we are aware. And where we put our awareness is what we experience. And you will have seen that in really simple interactions in your life. Here's one. You're in the middle of an argument with somebody in your life, and your awareness is totally on what's going on between you. And then something happens, the smoke alarm goes off, or, something funny happens and it breaks the moment, or whatever it is, you get distracted. And then suddenly your awareness is on something else. And it's gone. The feeling that you had when you were with that person and upset is just gone. It just goes because your awareness has just gone somewhere else. And as it does that, you're giving less energy, less awareness energy to the thinking you had in the argument, and then it just kind of fizzles out. And another example of this is that where we think things are really stressing us out, like our full inbox, when we're focused on our full inbox and we look at all the numbers and we're looking at it and thinking about it, perhaps we're thinking about it in the early hours of the morning, then we feel that awareness brings that to life. But then we're not thinking about it anymore, and the full inbox is still there and we don't feel it anymore. So that awareness, we are aware. It's an undeniable fact. We are aware. And that's where we can really kind of start to not manage, but we can use that as a tool, as a way to see how life is working out. And the third fact is that you are never feeling your circumstances or other people or anything else. No one outside of you has the power to make you feel anything. But thought is what's creating your experience. Thought in the moment is what you're feeling, which is why you and I can experience exactly the same thing, whether that's a piece of music, a movie, or a situation with the weather or the news or anything else, and we can feel completely differently about it because there's something unique that we are bringing to that circumstance, which is then what creates our feeling. We're always feeling thought in the moment. We are never feeling our circumstances. And the thing is that if you think the outside world is making you feel stuff, then that is hugely contributing to that overwhelmed feeling. Because you're going to spend a lot of your life trying to manage the outside world to make yourself feel okay. And that is what, for me, led to burnout. No two ways about it. People attribute it to my job or anything else, but I know for a fact it is because I was trying to make the outside world make me happy by trying to control it. And that is an absolute source of that overwhelmed feeling. And it certainly was for me to the point of burning out. So I guess you have a choice. You don't have a choice. Like in any moment, that choice can disappear because you can forget all of this. But for me, the choice is to look in this direction or look in the other direction. Look towards the truth or not look towards the truth. If you don't look towards working within gravity, you'll be working in a mess. If you don't look towards working within the truth of how life works, then life becomes much more complicated and there's much more of that overwhelmed feeling. And the invitation here is to just bring some awareness to this. Just start to notice how this is playing out in your life. Thank you so much for listening. There's nothing to do now but bring some awareness to how this is working out in your life. Listen regularly to experience longer and longer periods of calm. This has been the Calmcast with Claire Downham, Queen of Calm. Take care and keep listening.